Hi everyone, I'm Steve Krause and welcome to Writing 225, Writing Across the Curriculum for Fall 2021. I want to try to do something a little bit different with this intro video this year. I'm not going to read the syllabus and I'm not going to, spend 20 minutes going over all the details because I'm not sure people watch those videos anyways. And really, you need to read the syllabus. You need to take the responsibility to understand the details of the class. I wrote all that stuff out there. Think of it essentially the contract for the class. I have a very detailed schedule I'll show you in a second. So take a look at that stuff and then ask questions instead of me just droning on like this. But I do want to hit a couple of things. So hopefully I can do this in under 10 minutes. Writing Across the Disciplines is a class that's supposed to be the class that you take kind of after you take something like first year writing 121 and before you take the writing intensive class in your major. A lot of times people end up taking this class at different times. Like there's a lot of juniors and seniors in this class who might have already taken the writing intensive class. You're kind of doing it backwards, but hopefully you'll find this useful as well. I've been at EMU since 1998, and I've been teaching online for about 15 years, so long before COVID. So I'm very comfortable with the format, and I think that it works really well. But there are a couple of things that I want to point out right from the get-go that you need to think about as you get started. The first thing is that you've got to be responsible for your technology. Okay, you need to have a computer, you need to have good internet access, and if that gets interrupted for some reason, I'm not going to give you some sort of excuse. It's kind of like one of the key things that you're going to have to be able to control because I can't do anything about it. As part of that, one of the things that I always tell people about from the get go is that you have to answer your email every day. You have to read your email every day in case you get something from me or from other people in the class because it's the only way I have to communicate with you. And so if you hand something in and it doesn't work, or I have to give you an announcement, or we have to reschedule something, or whatever, the only way I can do that is with email. I'm not going to send you a text, I'm not going to give you a phone call, and I'm not going to come to your house. So read your email every single day. And if you don't read your email and don't respond to something because of it, then I'm going to hold you responsible in terms of the grade. Okay. The other thing is that it's an online class, but it's not an independent study class. There's a particular schedule of when you need to do things in terms of discussions and hand things in and all that kind of stuff. Pay attention to that on the schedule. But the key thing for the discussion part of the class is that think in terms of not the deadline, not when you need to finish a discussion, but think in terms of when you need to start a discussion in order to get the best grade for participation. There's going to be two big projects this semester. They both have to do with you explaining your discipline to people outside of it. So you have to think in terms of what do people who aren't in your major think about, how do you explain your major to other people. It's going to involve you thinking a little bit about discourse communities. We'll talk about that very soon. It's also going to get you to think a little bit about research journals in your field. We'll talk about that a little bit later. There's also a series of short what I describe as commonplace writings or blog writings. They're essentially, you'll see when we get there, but one of the things you're going to need to do pretty quickly is sign up for Blogger. Very easy to do. I have a video explaining that. And and those are going to be writings that you're going to complete kind of alongside some of the other things. So there's writing about in discussion forums, there's two large essay projects, and then there are these smaller one or so page short writings that are due throughout the term. Now, let me give you a little bit of tour of how I set up the Canvas site because I do it a little bit different than some people do. Okay, so watch this. Okay, so when you log into the class, you're going to see something like this. One thing I just want to point out right from the get-go is you'll notice there's not a lot of stuff over here, just the syllabus and the grades and people and library things. And I would strongly encourage you to ignore this to-do thing. So the only thing you need to pay attention to figure out what to do when is this page right here. All the schedule and all the links to all the discussions and everything is going to be on this page. All right. Now, of course, you should read the syllabus, and that's here. And it's kind of long. There's some details and stuff like that. But again, I'm making you responsible for reading the syllabus because you're all capable of reading. And think of this as essentially my contract with you about how the class is going to work, and essentially your contract with me as well. So make sure you read through this, make sure you understand it all, and if you have any questions about it, you should ask about it. I will hold you responsible for it, and so you want to read this because it may become an issue later on at some point. There's the participation part of the course, there's the short writing response part of the course, and there's the larger essay part of the course, and then there's some details here about the current moment we live in with COVID and with fine print of access to student services and things like that. So here's how the course works. You got here, so you already followed this discussion, and as you'll note, you're supposed to this is the first required discussion, so I'm expecting everyone to post at least one question and respond to at least two other people in the class. If you start that by August 30th and you respond to two other people before September 1st, which is that Wednesday, you'll get an A for participation. The next one is not a required discussion. It's actually just how to get started with Blogger. And in this video, I walk you through the process. When you're done, you want to send me the link to your first Blogger site. Just send me an email about what the address is going to be. And if you get stuck on something or whatever, send me an email about that and I'll try to help you out. Then the class progresses like this. So for example, we don't do anything on September 6th because it's Labor Day, but here's the first major first short writing prompt, which is again the short projects, 200 or 300 words, and this is something you're going to post on Blogger. And then this is where I explain the first larger essay. And this is where we get into the first reading. So you'll click on that, you'll see the reading itself there, and you'll want to comment it and things like that. One thing I'll warn you about is this first reading is kind of tricky, so take a little bit of time with it. So this is how the course progresses. Some of the links that aren't here yet will be here pretty soon. Some of the details, I'll have a little bit more detail about this. But you're going to need to have a draft of the first project about here, October 6th, October 4th and 6th. And it's going to be due here October 18th. Okay, we'll get into the second project here, and same sort of process here. There's a few things to be arranged yet, but we'll do a peer review on this project somewhere in here, and it'll be due on December 6th. There's no final or anything like that in the class, but on the chances that there's some things that are put off or people do revisions or something like that, anything that's remaining for the class has to be turned in by Wednesday, December 15th. It was quick, but hopefully you get the idea of some of the highlights. Now, read the syllabus, look over more of the class site, and introduce yourself, because that's the next thing. Is that down below, underneath there, what you want to do is tell us a little bit about something about yourself. Ask at least one question about the class. It can be a dumb question, or it can be a dumb question about something else, but ask at least one question. And then and do that by Monday, and then before Wednesday, make sure you respond to at least two of your peers by answering their questions or introducing yourself to them or whatever. But the idea is to get the conversation going on those discussion forums. Don't forget to sign up for Blogger. Let me know if you have any troubles with that. But otherwise, we're off to get started here. So let's hope that things go well, that, cross our fingers about COVID. We'll be online regardless. Starting online, we'll finish online. And let's have a good semester. Okay, let's get started.